Well, that was certainly one of the Formula One seasons of all time. I think it's fair to say on this one. Welcome to the WTF1 Wrap, powered by our friends at MoneyGram. For the final time in 2023, we are coming to you live from a bedroom somewhere in West London. But I am your friendly neighborhood host, Dre Harrison. Glad you could join us for this, the final episode of the season, the final WTF1 Wrap of the year, and of course the final F1 race of the year in Abu Dhabi. And honestly, I actually didn't hate that Grand Prix. I thought that could have been a fair bit worse than what it actually was in the end. I mean, although DRS trains I think are still more than capable of putting people to sleep in certain instances. I love that the first comment I've got in the chat is from Jason, who says S rank for everyone in the chat for surviving the season. Which, wow, we're going straight for the jugular today. So that, bold indeed. But as you can probably tell, I've got a very special guest. No expense spared for this final guest. I'm very, very glad to bring back probably the finest F1 YouTuber in the game right now. Delighted to be able to share a space with him for the second time. Look, since Australia, we had him early on in the year as well. We had him on Hot Takes Wednesday as well. But for a pleasure to have back on the show for the season finale, Mr. Josh Revell. Josh, good to have you back, my friend. How are you doing?
I am doing splendidly well for someone who's on his 12th coffee of the evening here in the Caffeine 500. The real problem with being a New Zealand Formula One fan, it's now 4:30 a.m. And of course, apart from this podcast interview I'm on right now, there's also the work going on for the driver ratings video. So it doesn't stop. It doesn't stop.
It never does. The pain train keeps on rolling here. And yes, for those who don't know, Josh is from New Zealand. He's 11 hours in front. It's 4:30 in the morning over there right now. So extra shout out and extra credit to Josh for coming on to do this at this ungodly hour to be able to do
I
this.
am in the future, but I can tell you that from the future, the season hasn't gotten any better right now. So
Well,
I'm sorry, people.
Yeah, it's over. The only thing that's even partly up for debate is that every team has been called into the stewards because apparently they weren't wearing their eyewear properly. That just kind of sums up this weird season, doesn't it, really?
Well, I'm glad that they've cracked down on that and not on, say, the TV race directing.
Yes.
Or TV race, whatever it is. Oh, a move going on? Let's look at something else. Sorry, I had to get that out of my system. That was a big pet peeve for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
That we missed two of probably the better moves for either a replay or something that wasn't going to be of any consequence. But hey, I'm not the one being paid $8,000 a night for that.
Indeed, it happens to the best of us. We all have an off day here and there every once in a while. But of course, we got to give a shout out to our friends over at MoneyGram for sponsoring the show, and a big thanks to them overall for sponsoring us all season long. They've been a fantastic partner to have. I'll talk more about them again a little bit towards the end of the show. But I just wanted to say real quick, the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix is in the books. The 2023 season is now in the books. But if you live in the US, you still have one final chance for the year to get in the mix with some cash for the MoneyGram Fast Money giveaway. Because Nico Hulkenberg made Q3, we are still giving away a share of $5,000 in free cash prizes. All you got to do, download the MoneyGram app, sign up for MoneyGram has F1 Teams updates, and enter for your chance at a share of that $5,000. And also be on the lookout for exciting new promotions from MoneyGram in the near future. They've been incredible to us all year long. A massive thank you to MoneyGram for sponsoring us all year long. A little bit more on that at the end of the show. We've got to talk a little bit about this race and the season in general. Big shout out to the chat, by the way. Diego, I see you. Jason, Gloria, Viandra Motorsport Fanboy, I see you in there from our M101 stuff. Good to see you guys. Herr Bjork in there as well. Thank you very much. And yeah, I heard the comment said I want to give my appreciation to the WTF1 team and Dre especially for a great season with plenty of great content and finding a niche that works well despite the rough start. Thank you. That's very, very kind of you. Thank you, Head. That means a lot. Just, yeah, I mean, we've got to talk a little bit about the race itself. Max Verstappen wins again. Yeah, Jesus, that is 19th win of 2023. I mean, if there was any argument left with the way this season's played out, Red Bulls won 21 out of 22, Max has won 19, had 2 second places and a 5th place. If there was any argument left, this is the greatest individual season in Formula One history. I don't think there's any argument left because he's been stupendous, virtually flawless all year long, and this was the cherry on top, Josh, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, greatest individual season in Formula One or motor racing? Because if it's for the latter, Jim Clark 1965 is pretty up there.
Pretty up there
with what he did.
Ascari's 52.
I mean, to be honest with you, all it was with Ascari in 52 was basically 2 of his Ferrari teammates in a field of Formula 2 cars because of the way regs were back then. But even then, I don't know. I don't want to diss that guy because Ascari was a great driver. But this year has been incredible. We cannot skive over it. We can talk about the car all we want. And yes, it was a damn rocket. But I mean, at the start of the weekends, on Fridays in practice, you would hear a little bit of, complaints from Max. And it's just like, oh, okay. Sometimes he would miss out on pole position to give you some hope. And then on Sunday, he'd Superman the field and take home the wins. And even the weekends where he didn't win, he didn't look bad there either.
No.
And it was just sort of robot precision from this guy. And again, talk about the car all you want, but it was just incredible. And this race sort of exemplified that. In the opening few laps, we're like, oh, we could be on for something good here. But you also got the sense that he's just managing this race.
He was.
And if Leclerc wants to get closer, it's like, all right, fine, I'll just drive away more.
Yeah.
It's just embodies what, has happened all season, really, where it's just... He has an answer for everything. Car and driver working in perfect harmony.
As Jason in the chat says, it's the Roman Reigns experience. If you know, you know. Certainly clobbering time, especially if you watched Survivor Series last night. But as Cam says in the chat, Ultra beat him down. We've seen far more dominant cars fail to achieve this much of a steamrolling over the field. I mean, the numbers are just outrageous. 860, I want to say, constructors points. Max had 575 on the year. 19 wins, 12 pole positions, over 1,000 laps led. That's nearly 80% of the season in terms of just overall laps. And I think that's a new percentage record over Clark. I've actually written a video that's due out tomorrow on the WTF1 YouTube channel talking about all the records Max has broken. It's astonishing. It is absolutely outrageous what we've seen. And I'm going to borrow a quote from the great, I think it was Tony Richardson, the athletics commentator, when he saw Usain Bolt run that 9.58 in Berlin, which is still the 100-meter world record. He says, I have never seen anything like this in my life, and I'm unlikely to ever see it again. It's outrageous. And you're right, it's not just Max. The team has been incredible. The strategy department of Hannah Schmitz has done a fantastic job, virtually flawless all year long. The pit crew, guys like Callum Nicholas in the back, who's done a fantastic job all year long. Their pit stops have been sublime pretty much all year long, just in terms of not just how strong the car has been, but for overall execution. I cannot remember a team that has been this virtually flawless where it's mattered all year long. Maybe Checo's not been the finest of teammates all year long, but it's just not mattered. It has been a suffocation of the field from start to finish, and a salute to everybody at Red Bull Racing. I've never seen anything like it in my 20 plus years of watching Formula One, and we've had some incredible seasons in that time, individually, from a constructor standpoint, you name it. We've never seen this. This was this was an unholy clobbering, and a salute to them. I mean, we've got to give a few shout outs here and there somewhere for the rest of the field before we get going with the tier list proper. Charles Leclerc, another great weekend from him. That was about as much as you could have realistically hoped for. Nearly stole pole position, got second place in the end. Just a fantastic overall performance from him. George Russell, good time to break out his best drive of the year, because that's also got Mercedes second in the Constructors. They held on by just 3 points in the end. That's a good few million quid of prize money heading back to Brackley, so well done to them as well. And we'll get to where we put him on the tier list in a minute as well, but driver of the day, Yuki Tsunoda, the only man to make a one-stopper work and finish in P8. That's a fantastic drive from him. You know, boy oh boy. He's had a tough year. It's hard to evaluate because of all the other chaos that's gone on around him in AlphaTauri, but deserved driver of the day accolade for me with that P8 finish. Not quite enough to have them overhaul Williams in their little fight for 7th in the end, and Williams just held on to that as well. But God, Yuki gave it the old college try, as they say. Anything else leap off the page to you, dude? Because I don't think this was a terrible race. Just there was some intriguing strategic stuff in there here and a little bit, and I wouldn't call this the worst of the year, but obviously hardly a classic either. Let's be honest.
Nah, like it just felt like an average race in Abu Dhabi. In which case, it's just like it's just mild cheddar. It's almost eating wallpaper paste at some points. Like, the opening lap was amazing, you know? And I thought, please let this set the tone for the race. And for a while, he was keeping within 1.5 seconds. But at the same time, it's just like, is he managing the gap? Sure enough, he was. And in the mid part of the race, it kind of dragged badly. Then it picked up eventually. But yeah, 100%. Yuki Tsunoda, driver of the day, which is amazing considering what I say about him in the driver ratings video. They do take that long where they are scripted beforehand, but that was a performance where he established himself as being the better driver on the day over Ricciardo, who is kind of been looked at for that second Red Bull seat in 2025 if Checo doesn't do what he's supposed to do next year. But, you know, it's great to see that, you know, Yuki's not falling back into the same old rhetoric of making mistakes when the pressure gets on. So great to see that. Great to see him, you know, delivering, and delivered in a big way. You know, you see him in the opening stages especially, and you're like, he's hanging in there with these guys. This is incredible. So there's that. McLaren they didn't maximize their potential today, which sucks considering where they looked to be at the beginning of the weekend. But that's that. Some may argue that Lando's not coping with the pressure, and that he crumples like Carlos Reutemann the moment that pressure even gets mentioned around him. But I'm not going to say that. But something else that was just weird in that race. The Alonso Hamilton deal going down into turn. What is it? This is why corner names are important. Yeah. Instead, you're just counting corners.
Yeah.
It's just like down into turn 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and like, you get what I mean. But yeah, that's that let go or the brake test or whatever it was just weird. And you know, Alonso could say, "Oh, I was letting Lewis through." It's like, well, only you knew that. Right. Lewis wasn't going to know that at that time.
I don't think it's gone any further than that, has it? Yeah, I think they said no further action on that, didn't they?
Yeah, but there was no malice in it. But that could have been a recipe for a plane crash, and you know, you prefer to stay away from those. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, that could have very easily been an airplane accident, and very glad that everybody came through that one unscathed. There was a bit erratic from Alonso. I think driving erratically was the best way of summing it up with the stewards, but no further action taken on that one. I guess no harm done. I guess I just decided to let it go, I suppose. But bit of a bizarre race in that aspect. I thought it was going to be a one-stopper, ended up being a two-stopper. I think everyone just ended up playing it reasonably safe in the end. And yeah, I think you summed it up best, Josh. I think it was a very, very Abu Dhabi kind of race on that one. So, without further ado, let me pull up the list, because it's that time again. Here's the tier list, one last time for the year, S, A, B, C, and D. Let's get the obvious one out of the way, Max Verstappen. Now, you see, the thing is that normally I would just say, well, it's an easy S tier. Max won from pole, dominated, and did what he had to do. Now, however, on this special occasion, I've decided not to put Max Verstappen in the S tier. I've now put him in a special Max tier section. It's on purple, it's on top of the list, and that's where he gets to belong, because he's been that dominant all season long. I decided, sod it, he gets his own tier to close out the year, because I was bored of putting him in S every week. So, welcome to Max tier. It's in purple, just like his car, for the most part. I guess his Vegas car, I guess you could say. And there he is. So, I thought I would surprise you all on my last episode for the year and stick Max in there. You're welcome, Internet. Enjoy that. Oh, hang on. I'll put the Max tier down. There you go. There you go. Perfect. There we go. Sorted. Ta-da! See? No technical expense spared on this show. Any arguments for you on that one, Josh? I don't think so.
You stole my idea. I was going to say the exact same thing, but I wouldn't put him on S tier. I'd put him in a new special tier. And
okay,
I will not delve into the same thing that people keep on saying. Take the damn car argument out here for a moment.
Right.
Because this is just special. What we're witnessing, it's boring, yeah, but it's just special. Like, you watch this game long enough and you see in every great driver, there's some kind of vulnerability there. You look at Max, it's just like, where is your vulnerability apart from keeping a cool head when speaking to JP? You know, but like, it's just incredible what we've seen this season. 19 out of 22 wins. Like, just special stuff. You got to put him into that tier that's above the tier itself. Like, just otherworldly. Just special stuff. Special. Did I mention the word special? Yeah, well, I have now. Yeah. Special.
Yeah, no questions asked on that one. Absolutely ridiculous season, and yeah, I think it's only fair I celebrate that as such on the show. Let's get a few more S's in there. I think it's safe to say Charles Leclerc is going in there for another really, really good drive. Again, I don't think he could have realistically asked for much more on that one. I think he's comfortably in S. I want to put George Russell in S as well, because I think he kept Leclerc very honest the whole way through. Was right behind him on the road. George has struggled a bit this year, but I don't think there was much more on the table for George on this one. How do you feel about it, Josh? Are we how harsh are you being with the tiers on this one? Because I got Viander in the chat that says Charles, Yuki, and George in S. How do you feel about that?
And George in S. Can't really argue with it, can't you? Because all three of them maximize the car's potential. You know, could those cars have realistically done any better with the hands of someone else, really?
I don't think so. I think the problem with Leclerc on hards is a Ferrari problem rather than a driver problem. We saw that in Vegas as well. It probably cost Leclerc the win even more than the awkward safety car time. And I just don't think the Ferrari is as good on hards as it is on mediums. And I think that's what did Leclerc in Vegas. And I think to a degree that's when the gap really started getting pushed out. On this one as well. The mediums, they were running right with Max all the way through the first chunk of that stint, and then it was at the end where it all kind of went balls up on that one for them. But I can't argue with that S tier of Leclerc. Yuki did a brilliant job on that one stopper. I don't think there was any more on the table for them. And George Russell as well in S tier. Also, interesting coming from the chat as well. According to Mega vs. Prime, says Checo has been summoned to the stewards for comments made over his radio. Wowee. What the hell did he say that was apparently so egregious? I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something here. That's interesting.
I want to hear it. I want to hear what he said. If it's so bad that the stewards have said, "Come up here," it's like, I'll want to hear that.
Yeah, I'd love to know what he said that was enough to warrant a steward's visit. Maybe something competitively speaking, or maybe it was just bad language. Maybe he's cussed out a steward or something over that penalty he got for the Lando Norris collision. I mean, apparently it was after the race, so maybe he's had a go at the stewards or something. I don't know. That would be the most like that happened to Gunther earlier this season when he called the stewards out around Monaco sort of time. I remember that. It was just give it a slap on the wrist and a don't do it again. That was interesting. I'll keep tabs on that. I don't think we'll get a resolution on that before this stream is over. So, we'll leave it there for the time being, but I think it was probably some sort of steward's diss. Checo ended up 4th. That's not a bad day, given he started 9th. I don't think it's terrible by any stretch. Is he going A again here for this one? I don't think he's in that S tier, but was running second in the end. I think that's honestly maybe we're docking him for the penalty, but for me, I think that was a racing incident with Lando Norris. I don't think that was quite time penalty worthy. How do you feel about it, Josh?
Yeah, well, you know what they say, Rubbin's racing. It's different with these cars because they don't particularly like looking at each other, let alone tangling with each other. Yet taking aside that, where I think it was just racing incident, yeah, as you said, it was a drive from Checo to go through the field like he did.
Yeah.
And yes, he's got a Red Bull, but he still drove well.
Yeah, I think so.
Not S tier because he didn't maximize the car's performance throughout the weekend. Wasn't quite as effective as Max, obviously, but still a good drive, and you got to commend him for what he did. So yeah, 100% go for A here.
Yeah, I think that's A. I think that's fair enough. Maybe obviously not quite Max, but still a good overall drive. I think we'll give him the benefit of the doubt for the penalty. I think that was it was a harsh penalty. Perez still comfortably made the corner despite the contact. I think that would be very harsh to throw the book at him for that one. It was a bit of a bonk, but I don't think that was enough to warrant 5 seconds, in my opinion. That's the chat seemingly is in agreement, saying A for Checo, she shouldn't have got a penalty. Fanboy says that penalty was quite harsh. Mike said the penalty was harsh. Yeah, I agree with all you guys there. I think it was a harsh penalty as well. So I think we'll give him the benefit of the doubt for that one and give it an A overall for Checo. I think that's a good day for him. The McLarens, are they going in A as well? It's an interesting one because I don't think they were quite as strong as we thought they were going to be this weekend. I mean, the race pace...
Qualifying was great.
Qualifying was great. Race pace not quite there.
Lando did mess up on his lap, but still, I mean, Piastri was amazing in qualifying to get P3, but yeah, in the race, they just disappeared.
Yeah.
And you got to kind of question what the hell, because... You know, in those first few laps, they looked handy. They were right there with Leclerc. And went overly far away from Max. And then it's just like, okay, where the hell did they just fly into the Bermuda Triangle all of a sudden? They're just gone. They're just nowhere in comparison to where we thought they would be. I would... Yeah, to be honest with you, I don't know, because is that the car or is that the drivers?
Lando got a slow stop as well. That was a 5.1 in there for him.
Yeah. Yeah, but I'll put them both in A. They were still effective this weekend. Not, I mean, they weren't bad enough to be in the B, but... You know, it's just they're walking a tightrope here.
Yeah,
and you get the sense that McLaren could have achieved more this weekend.
I agree. I think A's just. I think if obviously if there was a grade between A and B, says, or I'd put them there. I agree with you. I think A is about right. I think I would give them the higher end of that rather than the lower end. I don't think they did too much wrong. Lando was hurt by a slow stop that wasn't his fault. On that one, I'd lean towards the benefit of the doubt on that one. Certainly, I think A is about right for them on that one. So I'm going to give him the higher end of the tie break on that one. So yeah, I'm going to go with that on this one. Let's do. I mean, God, nobody had a technical retirement, did they? Did all 20 cars make it? I think they did, didn't they? Yeah, so
Yeah.
yeah, no obvious
Yeah, they
outliers.
did.
So yeah, I'm not putting anybody in C for technical reasons this time round because I think all 20 made the flag. Kevin Manson's still going in D though. Kevin, what are we doing here? I know he's adorable, and I know he provides many a wholesome content with his lovely daughter, but Kevin, come on, man, we're trying here. Oh, Sainz retired. Yeah, they parked Sainz at the end of the race, so I guess Sainz goes in C. In fact, you know what? I'm gonna say, he was 16th most of this race, wasn't he? He was only really up there because, because he didn't stop till right at the end. So yeah, technically he was classed as a finisher because he did do 90% distance. So they parked him after that final stop, hoping for a late safety car or something. But I'm gonna put Sainz in D. Is that fair?
Yeah.
I think it is.
I thought it was gonna enrage controversy on here by suggesting he should go in D. And some people will say, oh, he was trying to trudge through the field on the strategy, blah, 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 just some amount of excuse.
Pace wasn't there though.
This weekend, Sainz put the mid in midfield this weekend. He was just not good. Like, I can't really give any reprieve for this guy. It was just not a good weekend at any stage.
No,
and it's not very good. It's not good enough, really, when Leclerc's up the front, getting second, and just, doing what he was doing in the last bits of the race, trying to rescue the Constructors' Championship, because Sainz picked this weekend to play his part in the Prancing Hans effort. It's just not good. It did actually cost them P2 in the Constructors' standings this weekend by being as mid as he was.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, by that standards, you probably may have to put him in F, but probably a bit cruel, so I'll just land him in D for now.
Yeah, luckily D's as low. Luckily D as low as we go on
all
this
the problems.
But yeah,
despite all the problems for Leclerc this year, and Sainz had his issues as well, but despite all of what we know happened to Leclerc this year, he still finished ahead of Sainz.
Yeah,
which, it was obviously down to the late charge, but that's not a good day for Sainz in the slightest.
Not a good day for Sainz. The chat seems to be in agreement with K-Mag as well. He's maintaining the Latifi role, the great guy that can't perform. Says K-Mag should not be racing next year. There, I said it, says Diego. Whew, wow, that's...
Ouch. But to be honest with you, he's seen Q1 so many times.
I agree.
He's starting to take that permanent residency role in Q1 away from Lance Stroll.
Mm-hmm.
If you could do that, if you can dethrone Lance Stroll from that, that's not good. Especially with Ollie Behrman doing as well as he's doing right now, and Haas apparently are high on him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Borrowed time, K-Mag.
Borrowed time, K-Mag, indeed, by the look. I mean, he looks like he's just happy to be there at the moment. And yeah, harsh. I want Kevin to do well, I really do. But again, when you're stone dead last, it's hard for me not to put you in D. You're gonna need a mitigating circumstance for me not to put you in the D tier. Unfortunately, I have to be fair. He has to go down there. I'm going to put his teammate Hulkenberg in C. He tried with that P8 start. It was a bit unlucky off the line. He was the big loser of that initial shakedown, but again, Haas just not there in terms of race pace. Again, I think he was down in 16th in the end. And yeah, just another unfortunate weekend for Haas, and they are now confirmed to be bottom of the Constructors' Championship for the season. The best worst team in F1 history, because no bottom-ranked team has ever scored 12 points. And yet, here we are. That's sad. That's sad to say the least as well on that one. I'll get a couple more easy ones out of the way in C tier as well. Alfa Romeo. What happened? Like it's. We've given. I've joked on this show before, Josh. We've called them the participation trophy team of the season. They're just there, and like. I might even put Bottas stone dead last in D tier because he was 19th, I think, on the day. And Alfa Romeo's season has just completely collapsed at the end of the year. I know Bottas was unlucky in Vegas, when he qualified really well and was kind of collected by Alonso in that spin. But Alfa Romeo just not at the races here.
Participation trophy team. I've got to steal that one.
It's all yours.
Because really, what has been more memorable this year? Anything that Alfa Romeo did or Bottas's ass calendars? Like, we know the answer to that because Alpa's had nothing this year. And they're heading toward a 10-year where it's supposedly, we don't quite 100% know at this point, they're going to have Audi on board.
Yeah.
And this is where the team's at right now. Now, yeah, they could do the BMW Sauber thing, and they could become much better once they have that German backing. It is not encouraging right now to see where Sauber are at. But how much of that is down to the car? How much of that is down to the drivers? Because we have to be a bit more honest here about the drivers. We love Valtteri, we love Joe. But are they the drivers that Sauber need to progress forward? I'll say at this point, they're not. We're not seeing a spark from these two that we would see, for instance, from Leclerc when he went in there.
Yeah.
No, he wasn't winning races, but you can see there was something special about this guy, and he was doing bits in that car.
And it's kind of doubly frustrating. Yeah, it's kind of doubly frustrating as well because Theo Pourchaire just won the Formula 2 title today as well, and Theo is a guy that could have been driving in this car 2 years ago, potentially. He's been in that Sauber Academy for a long time now, 3 years, and he's been overlooked for Zhou Guanyu on all those occasions. And I think Pourchaire is a stud talent, and I think he's been unlucky to have been overlooked in a very competitive field. I think Pourchaire would be the spark and the shot in the arm that team could use, and instead I think they've gone very safe personally. And don't get me wrong, I understand why to a degree. I know it's not necessarily a meritocracy. I know that Zhou does have some financial backing, and the teams have got to survive. I get it. Needs must. And, I don't think Pourchaire is a million times better than Zhou Guanyu, but, to get a shot in the arm, some excitement in your team, to get people captivated, given that Audi are 2 years away, I certainly don't think it would hurt to have Pourchaire in that team, and I wish him the best wherever he ends up, because obviously he can't go back to Formula 2 next year. Maybe he'll end up in IndyCar. We'll have to wait and see. That could be interesting, because IndyCar's had some F2 guys flourish in recent years, like Christian Lundgaard and Callum Eilert, and wishing the best to Callum Eilert as well, because I'll say on the record, Junko's absolutely shafted that man. And
yeah, don't say.
Yeah,
I thought they handled it rather diplomatically. Did you not? Anyone that is not familiar with the Junko situation is gonna be like, what are they talking about? It's like,
have a Google. Trust me on this.
Just Google it. You're gonna have a fun 3 hours.
Yeah. They're gonna have some fun times with that one. But yeah, we're over halfway through. So let's have a quick pause for the MoneyGram send of the day for the final time this season for the best overtake of the race. Normally, I give the honour to the guest. So, Josh, what was your favourite overtake in that race?
Oh my God!
Don't
not take notes?
Don't rush in at once.
Oh no! Absolutely. Checo's first move on Norris doesn't count, doesn't it?
Well, it kind of did. It was a fun sequence. Chat, feel free to chip in as well if you want. I might go to the chat on this one. I don't think.
Can I phone a friend? 50-50 ask the audience, because I totally forgot to take notes on this one.
You can go for the UK option. You can ask the host as well if you like.
I'll ask the host. What was the best move in Europe again?
I like George Russell going around the outside of Piastri. I like that new sweeping left-hander they've got in Sector 2 now regarding Abu Dhabi. I'm a big fan of that, and it's a lot more raceable than that triple chicane sequence that they used to have there until 2021 came through. So I was a fan of George Russell's fight with Oscar Piastri and that outside send. I was a big fan of that. So if I'm going to take the reins on this one, I'm going to say George Russell gets the final MoneyGram send of the day for the season.
Yep,
big.
that's the one.
That nice and simple on that one. We'll keep that one there for that one. So big thanks for the MoneyGram for send of the day on that one, and it goes to George Russell. About time he had a clean overtake for once. Back to the tier list. On that one. So, yeah, Daniel and Logan was pretty good too. That's a good shout as well, Kieran, in the chat as well. Daniel and Logan was a good shout too. Absolutely a fair contender on that one. We got a few names left. What are we doing with Lewis Hamilton? Because I kind of think that Hamilton was just kind of meh on this one. I'm thinking B for Lewis.
Yeah, he was...
Just
it was
there.
A bit shocking to... it was a bit shocking for him to be out in Q2.
Yeah, didn't know.
And he was clearly not better than George. George was clearly the better driver this weekend. But having said that, in the race, Lewis was quick, despite missing quite a bit of his front wing. So, I don't know. It's a sort of a difficult one. Do you want to talk about where he positioned overall, about qualifying,
was it P9 on the day?
Losing. Passing, overshooting, getting snap oversteer, losing the position to Yuki. But at the same time, during the race, he was running rapid pace, amongst the fastest drivers on track. So, what do you do really?
I'm leaning B. The chat seems to be saying B. I'm inclined to agree.
There are sort of dollops of an A performance in there, but it's like, where does he predominantly lie? And it's the B category because, if we're going to measure it by where he compared to George, it's not close enough to George's performance over the weekend to merit just being behind him in the tier levels. So, yeah, I'll go B.
We'll go B on that one. I agree with you. I think B is about right for Lewis on this one. Should we do the Williams? Because, again, they qualified so well. Like, Albon, again, started P7 on the grid, but, again, just fell down the order like a stone on this one. I kind of want to put both Williams in C. I saw a couple of comments suggesting that in the chat earlier. They've held on. They've clung on for dear life to get 7th. Overall, it's a fantastic season for Williams, and well done, James Vowles, who's done a fantastic job over there for the Grove boys. But not their shiniest of weekends, to say the least. But I kind of want to put them both in C. The chat is in agreement. I think they're saying C. Williams raced today. So Albon was P14. Sorry, I got mixed up with Vegas again. My bad, Kieran. But overall, I think it's still a C for the Williams. Just don't know what happened to them at the start, really, and just never really recovered.
I love how we say, good year to finish P7 in the constructors' standings. This is a team in the late 80s and early 90s were the team to be with.
Yeah.
Hell, you can even go back to the late 70s where they were starting to cook. Off into about just past the mid 90s, they were the team. Every top driver was desperate to go there. And now, P7, that's an awesome result for us. How the mighty have fallen. Bring back the Brummy Mammoth and Alain Prost to rescue this team. So look, I think Albon's been fantastic this year.
Great season.
With what he's done.
Great season.
Great racing. Yeah, throwing his car into the sandbox in Melbourne was a little unhealthy. But most of the year, you see what he's done in that car. Back a couple of years ago, we would hero praise anybody that got into the points in a Williams. But to Albon this year, that's just Sunday.
Yeah.
Sargent hasn't quite been that good, but if you look at it, he has not been that far away from Albon in the races.
Yeah,
you see him during this race.
I think he's been stronger in
2 or 3 seconds.
I think he's been stronger in race trim, especially in the back half of the year. I think Logan's kept a much fairer, a much closer pace to Albon in actual race trim. So I agree. I think if you saw the radio messages after the race, I think it heavily implied that Sargent will be staying for next season, because I think James Vowles said on the radio, thanks for all your hard work this year. We're going to have a good winter and hopefully many more, is what he said, which I think more than suggests that Logan will be kept for next year. So fair enough. I think he's earned a second year. I think he's shown a little bit more promise in what he can do in race trim, and I wish him the best. It's good for the sport to have an American in there, and I'm glad Logan's, I think, certainly closed it in a little bit over the year. Both in C on the day for me, but I think that's about right. Jason in the chat says, do you really want to have Prost back after he compared Lauren Rossi to the Dunning-Kruger effect? He did say that after Spa, didn't he?
There is a little bit of problems with every driver. We gotta deal with a little bit of Frenchness in Alan.
A little Frenchness is a treat, as they say. I think that's fair enough. We've got 5 drivers to go. I think Daniel probably is in C for that 13th place. Just didn't work out for him on this one. Yeah. I'll go for these relatively quick, because I think there's a lot to write home about with a lot of these drivers. I mean, Stroll, just outside the points. Alonso was, 8th on the day, 9th on the day, I think.
Yeah.
So do we go Alonso B, Stroll C?
I don't know, because how much more could have been extracted out of that car?
Not much. I think this is. Aston was quite disappointing to me this weekend. I thought there was a bit more in it for them this weekend, and it turns out this was about their maximum. Both Astons in B, says Viandra. I can maybe get behind that. Red Bull was definitely quicker.
Alonso, B. But I would have put Stroll in the same tier there. I'm not saying this to take the piss out of Lance.
No.
I've had my fill.
Absolutely.
It's just more, how far away was Lance from Alonso? I know they're on different strategies, but how far away were they? About
11 seconds, 12 seconds. It's not too bad.
All right. No, not too bad.
Stroll was on an alternate strategy.
And he looks solid enough, so...
B?
I'll play it safe, and I'll say a very low B. Very low B for him.
Just about.
Solid B for Alonso, and where Aston started this year, and we thought the Lord of the Eyebrows was going to get a win for the first time in 10 years.
Yeah.
Instead,
Indeed. Just the Alpines, 12th and 14th. Just a nothing burger of a race for them all. I'm going to put them both in C. I don't think there's any argument for this one. I think Gasly was hard done by. I think he was undercutted by his own teammate by Alpine, which I thought was very bizarre when he was running in the points early doors. I don't think that was on Gasly. I think he was given a poor strategy call on that one, and Gasly was on the radio complaining. I think he had a fair argument to be a bit peeved about that one. I just think Alpines are both in C. I think I'm happy with that. About you, Josh? What do you reckon?
Ocon C, Gasly B.
Give Gasly the benefit of the doubt. Okay, I'll lean that way. Because he had the strategy call, for the damage his car got as well, because he did get hit in the rear by Hamilton as well after that lockup. So that's a fair point from Mike as well, so in the chat.
Because, I mean, apart from that, on the lead up to that, it was a strong weekend for Gasly.
Yeah,
so,
I agree.
No, it all got taken out of the B category on the surface by virtue of the fact that Alpine decided to be stupid again. Yeah. And this time, it wasn't because the two Alpine drivers just so happened to meet out on track. This damn Alpine team is very close to being what Renault was in 1982, where they're fast, but the moment they look to be getting anywhere, they would just go to war with each other. Which, we don't want this to go full nuclear, but there have been times this year where it seems it's heading that way. Because you'd have these two drivers who are doing so damn solidly for the team, are all of a sudden really racing each other hard out. And then you look at the constructor standings, it's just like, we should be doing better than this.
They've been locked in to the sixth spot in this championship pretty much all year long. As soon as McLaren's upgrades hit around Silverstone kind of time, they've been the locked in number 16. They've had a couple of podiums here and there. They've had a few really genuinely great days. Ocon went from, what was it, 17th or 16th to 4th in Vegas the other day. The car is not a complete dumpster fire. They've got something here, but they're just not consistent.
I mean, even in that Vegas thing, where Ocon broke ranks, and past Gasly went off into oblivion, and I was having Vietnam flashbacks at that time to 1982 French Grand Prix, where René Arnoux broke ranks and just went off into the distance from Alain Prost. Yeah. And we know what happened after that.
Yeah, so, it wasn't great.
Yes, this is evoking memories and doing, throwbacks to yesteryear that we shouldn't really be having.
Yes, that's fair. Absolutely fair. Few chat comments as well. DTS should just give us all access to Alpine's race debrief every race. Absolute fire. Well, Season 6 is coming up in March, so you never know. We'll have to wait and see. Kieran says, I'd love to know how many times a driver was in S, A, B, C, and D tier across the season. Hold that thought and keep an eye on the WTF1 website. I have been constructing an Excel spreadsheet. More on that in the coming days. So, I came prepared just for such an occasion. But that'll just about do it here. We've got Max in Max tier. We've got Leclerc, Tsunoda, and Russell in S. We've got Perez and the McLarens in A. The Aston Martins, Hamilton, and Gasly in B. Hulkenberg, the Williams, Ricciardo, and Ocon in C. And then in D, Magnussen, Sainz, and the Alfa Romeos. I am happy with that if you are, Josh. Yeah, I'm happy. He's happy with that too. I will take that all day long. So, yeah, that'll do it for the WTF1 Wrap, not only for this race, but for this series. I would just like to say a few words before we get out of here for the year, because I know you guys were very, very kind in the comments at the start of the episode. I would just like to say a massive thank you to a few people. My team in the back, Charlie and Hannah, have done a fantastic job on social media all season long. Duncan, who you never get to see, but also works our social media in the back, organises a lot of the stuff behind the scenes that nobody you will never be able to claim credit for that publicly. So I will do it on his behalf. So a massive thanks to Duncan in the back as well. I would just like to say a massive thanks to all of the editorial team at the race. For those guys who don't know, they check over all of our written stuff all year long. And I'm a better writer and journalist thanks to them. So a huge thanks to the team at the race. They do a fantastic job. They've got the best fleet of F1 and MotoGP writers and IndyCar team in the world. They do a phenomenal job, and I'm very lucky to be able to get such insight from all of them. I want to say a massive thank you to MoneyGram, in particular David. David, I know you're watching. He works for all the global partnerships at MoneyGram. They've believed in us and me in particular all year long. I wouldn't have been able to perform live in Vegas without him. So a massive, massive thank you to David and all the team at MoneyGram. They have believed in us more than just about anybody else on the World Wide Web this year. So a hearty thank you to everyone at MoneyGram, and particularly David, who's actually become a genuine mate on social media from all the times we've worked together. Got a chance to meet him at Silverstone and in Vegas, got to meet me and my partner as well. And of course, big thanks to Gloria. I know you're watching, Gloria. I love you loads, darling. Thank you so much for all of that. And I just want to say thank you to all of you who's gone out of your way to watch. Look, I won't be able to go into as much detail as I'd like to right now, but what I would say is that, look, we all know what this situation was. We all know Matt, Tommy, and Katie moved on to what they believe to be greater things, and I salute them. It takes a set of steel ones to be able to do that. I was brought in as one of the new team, and it was an incredible challenge to be able to do that. And I came into this not wanting to be the next Matt or the next Tommy or the next Katie. I wanted to be the first Dre, and I sincerely hope that I was able to be entertaining, to be informative, and to be able to put a smile on people's faces, because that's ultimately what my goal was. This was an opportunity of a lifetime for me, and I wanted to grab this opportunity with both hands as much as I possibly could. I see the same names in the chats and in the comments and on social media, and Kieran, Gloria, Motorsport Fanboy, Mike Cabela, I see you. Zav from CrickViz, love your work at CrickViz, my friend, as a massive cricket fan. You guys do incredible work over there. Love you, Zav, much appreciated. And I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for all of that, because at the end of the day, and I'm not stupid, I'm not privy to this, there's 150 different places you can get F1 content these days. We all know the places, you could be. We're very lucky to have such a massive space for motorsport content. I've been in this game for 11 years now in total. I've seen it from the days where it was just people playing people just playing the F1 video games all day and trying to make content with a limited game, to so much more than that now, where guys are in paddocks, guys are in teams, they're interviewing drivers. We've had an unprecedented level of access and growth in the last decade, and to have a small part of that is an honor and a privilege. So sincerely, thank you all so much. You could have easily jumped ship, you could have easily gone elsewhere, but you chose to watch us, and in this case, in this platform and in this show, you chose to watch me, and that is an incredible honor, and I will never, ever, ever lose sight of that. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you, everyone, for watching. It's been an incredible season. It's been, I'd be lying if it was an incredible season, but for me particularly, it's been an incredible year. Being able to go watch MotoGP, being able to meet so many genuine fans in the clubhouse, being able to see a little bit more of the world. My girlfriend's in Philadelphia, and because of this job I was able to go see her twice, which is not easy for a guy from West London, so I'll forever be grateful for that as well. I've been blessed and honored by being able to do this, and you guys' support is a huge part of the reason why, and I will never, ever, ever lose sight of that. So on behalf of everybody at WTF1, from me, Charlie, Hannah, Duncan, Connor, I forgot to mention Connor, who edits all these videos. He's done a fantastic job all year long. So thank you, Connor. Thank you, Benji, who was here as editor as well for many, many years, even before I rolled up. He's a phenomenal guy to work around as well. So a massive, massive thank you to everybody. I couldn't have done it all without you, and just thank you for everything. It's been an honor and a privilege. So until next time, thank you so much for watching. Don't worry, Hot Takes Wednesday will be back next week as usual. So there'll be more content to come through the off season, of course. But one more time, thank you all so much for watching over 2023. It's been an honor. So for me, from Josh, who's, again, I'm very lucky to get to work with such an esteemed guy. You know where to find him. Just Google Josh Revell. He's fucking fantastic. Don't care for the swear word. I don't care that I've sworn on this one. It's the last show of the year. I don't care. Subscribe to Josh if you haven't already. And if you haven't, what the hell are you doing here? Quite frankly. So until next time, I've been Dre Harrison, and he's been Josh Revell. Thank you for watching the WTF1 Wrap, powered by MoneyGram, across 2023. Good night and God bless. Sayonara. And don't be a manus.